Welcome to High Point Music's Tone Zone Shootout, where I'm going to show you through the differences between the Boss Waza Blues Driver and their standard edition Blues Driver. We have a video already on the Blues Driver, so after you watch this one you can watch that next to get a better idea of some of its fundamental sounds. But for the purposes of this video I'm going to play a loop and then I'm going to show you the difference between this pedal on and this pedal on with the settings as close to each other as I can possibly make. So this is what it sounds like. So this is our clean loop. I'll turn the first Blues Driver on and show you what it does. And then the other Blues Driver. And back to the original. So now we're going to turn the gain down, see what it does at the lower range. So minimum gain. They sound kind of similar. About 9 o'clock. Still pretty similar. A bit of an increase there at 12. You can hear some of the body changing. Yeah, it definitely gets thicker. So we'll turn that tone up. So what you could hear there is a change in gain around that 12 o'clock position. The Waza pedal definitely has more gain available. I didn't notice too much of it before sort of 9, 10 o'clock. So if you still like that low overdrive sound that the Blues Driver has, you could definitely get away with using the Waza on the lower settings. There was a definite change in the mid-range, and I felt as though the Blues Driver Waza edition sounded thicker. It had more body, maybe a bit more presence to it, whereas the original Blues Driver sounded a little bit thinner by comparison. Of course, that was with the tone control starting to work its way up, so you might be able to dial some of that presence out by keeping the tone low. I think the next thing to do will be to show you what the difference in the high gain sounds sound like with a little bit of lead playing. So I'll show you that now. So the Waza back to the Blues Driver. It's a lot brighter. I'll take that down to about 12. So there's not a huge difference, no. There's a little bit of treble difference, but I'll set that to like 9 o'clock. A little bit thinner. Not huge. So to me, the difference between the two pedals is the brightness or the presence of the signal predominantly. We can still get some great low gain sounds with the Blues Driver, and the Blues Driver Waza edition certainly achieves those as well. You don't notice that increase in gain until about 12 o'clock and onwards. So the range is still there if you want to dial it in, but the mid-range is where I notice the biggest change. The BD-2 is a little thicker sounding, a little bit meatier sounding. The original is a little thinner by comparison. I don't necessarily mind the lack of thickness in the original Blues Driver. If you're playing any humbuckers or neck pickups, you kind of want a little bit of a thinner sound because of how bassy the Blues Driver sounds naturally. But the tone control on the Waza pedal still works pretty well like the original, so if you do want to dial it for a much brighter response, it's going to give you most of the range. I think people who are looking for a little bit more gain, maybe they're playing different guitars, or people who want a bit of a thicker response from their overdrives are going to lean towards the Waza edition. Of course, you can turn the Waza switch back to the standard mode and get all of the sounds of the Blues Driver. But if you're looking to buy one of these pedals, you're probably going to go with the Waza Craft version. Although it's a little more expensive, it's going to be a little more versatile. So it sounds good. Maybe it's a little bit quieter. I'd have to hear it in a much louder circumstance. I'd have to hear it in a much louder scenario to know whether there's much noise difference. But the parts that I can hear, the gain and the frequency response, are a welcome change. They do give us some nice alternatives to the standard sound. So that's the shootout between the Blues Driver Standard and the Waza Craft Edition from Boss. If you're interested in checking out either the Blues Driver Waza Craft Edition or the original Blues Driver, you can follow a link below to either of them. Don't forget to check out the blog, check out our social media. You can stay up to date with us there. If you've got questions, comments or suggestions, that's the great place to get in touch with us. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.